welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Lacey and I am a middle school teacher who just completed her 5th year of teaching. I can't believe it, but today is May 17th and it was my last day of school today. It still doesn't really feel real. It just kind of feels like a normal Friday night. But I figured let's reflect while it's fresh on my brain. Let's talk about year number 5. Let's talk about my thoughts on teaching, education, my school year. So I'm having a cozy night in. It is currently storming outside, so if you end up hearing the rain, please excuse that. But I got my blanket, I'm in a hoodie and sweatpants, I'm sitting on the couch. I got my questions, and I figured we can reflect on this school year together. If you're new here, I teach 6th grade language arts, and this was my 2nd year teaching 6th grade. I taught 3 years of 8th grade language arts. So that's a little background about me. I asked on my Instagram for questions, so make sure you follow my Instagram, which is linked down below. Jumping right in, the first question is, did you enjoy this group of students? And honestly, of course, I've had 5 different groups of students, and I would never say no to any of my groups of students. I did enjoy all my groups of students that I've ever had for different reasons. So yes, I definitely enjoyed this group. One thing that makes them stand out, I would say, is their creativity. I really enjoyed seeing them be so creative. A lot of times, some of the students, not because I made them, but because they wanted to, they would literally crumple up their paper and start over and make it even better and even more creative, because they just wanted it to be perfect. Like, we had a lot of perfectionist students, and I did not put that pressure on them. They just wanted to be creative and artistic and make things above and beyond, and I'm just not used to that. So I just loved the creativity and how hard they worked. I tried to plan as many creative things as I could, and they did not disappoint at all with their creative skills. So I definitely did enjoy this group because of their creativity and how hard they worked to make an assignment great. Not just acceptable, but great. And of course, some students asked me who my favorites were. I'm not going to say names because of privacy, and there's weirdos on the internet. But I did not treat anyone any different. Let's just have this little disclaimer. I graded everyone the same. I grade everyone off the same rubric. Like, obviously, I did not treat anyone different, but there were just some students that I just connected with a little more that are my favorite. If I have communicated to a student that you're my favorite, like I kind of, say it in their ear, or, just kind of say it in private conversation, then you're my favorite. I meant that. You guys know I always mean what I say. So if you're a student watching and I told you, hey, you're one of my favorites, I meant it. So I'm not going to say names, but if you know, you know. The third question also came from a student, and she asked, what will you miss most about this group? And I kind of already mentioned this, but this group really worked super, super hard. Like, if it was an independent work day, I could go over the directions, give them everything they need, and they would sit there and work on it for the whole hour. I wouldn't even have to speak to them. Like, I wouldn't even have to say be quiet one time. Of course, not every day was like that. There were some days in some classes where I did have to correct behavior, which is normal. But majority of the time, they worked super, super hard. They were very independent. They were super creative, like I mentioned, and they just honestly put in a lot of effort. And considering last year I consistently had to call parents about discipline and fuss and fuss and fuss and tell them to be quiet, it was really rewarding to see them work really hard, especially from where I came from last year. So I will definitely miss that about this group, because I don't know what students I'm going to have next year. I don't know how they're going to be. So I will definitely miss how hard they worked. Question 4, I actually added myself because this is a reflection video. So how do you feel this year went? I would say this was my best year yet, if I, do say so myself. So I felt the most organized this year. My school has us turn in lesson plans every Sunday by 6 p.m. They're due, but I would always turn them in this year Fridays before I left to work. Sometimes even Thursdays if I was really on top of it. So I never had to bring my computer home on a weekend, never brought my computer home on weeknights. I never just brought my computer home, period. I got all my stuff done at work, and I just felt really organized. Also, my lessons were pretty creative, and I worked really, really hard to make this a pretty fun year for the kids. And a lot of kids said I used to hate ELA, but now I like it. And that makes me feel good because I am a young teacher and I try to be relevant. I try to bring in their outside interests, try to bring in social media. I am proud of every single lesson I did. I wasn't just out here having fun. I did meet the standards. Of course, we read a lot. Of course, we wrote a lot, but I tried to make it fun. And I definitely am 100% proud of 100% of the lessons that I taught and the assignments that I assigned. So I feel like in terms of that, my year went super, super well, for sure. And like I already said, the students, we had a pretty good group for the most part, no major behavior issues. So this was honestly my best year yet. Another thing I wanted to speak on, because I feel like teachers don't talk about this a lot, but we got to normalize this conversation that working with other adults with different personalities and different teaching styles, that can be tough, and you have to learn to stand your ground. So I feel like this year I definitely did. And of course, me and my team are super close. You guys already know that those are my friends. Like, they're not coworkers, they're friends. I know I do what I'm supposed to do. I know that I come and I teach my butt off and I try to be creative and I go above and beyond. So I feel like there were some things this year I felt like were unnecessary, and I'm not going to get into it, but I feel like just working with a lot of adults can be tough, and I'm going to leave it there. But overall, like I said, very good year. Definitely learned a lot, and I'm excited for the next one. Someone asked, what is the favorite part of your job? And I kind of already touched on this, but the favorite part is building a relationship with the kids and kind of letting them know, like, I care about you as a person. Like, I'm not just here to see how well you read and write. I actually care about you as a person. Like, as a teacher, you naturally are building relationships with these kids. Like, you are with them 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. Like, you're with them more than their parents. So of course, you connecting with them, laughing with them. Like, today, I definitely, had some students that I was talking to and giving them hugs and saying goodbye to, and it's like, I will remember these kids forever. Like, these are lifelong relationships. And I know I'm only on year 5, but I know years from now I will look back on this group of kids and I will still have all these memories. And it's really beautiful to have these kind of relationships with these students. And I feel like the world is changing, maybe not for the better, but something so pure is the teacher-student relationship. Like, you can't take that away. That is always going to be there. And I feel really blessed to be in this position to pour into all these little humans and just be part of their journey on the way to adulthood. So that's definitely my favorite part. The next question was asked by one of my old students from last year, and he actually asked me, what are your thoughts about our school? Which I don't ever say our school name or anything, so I'm just going to change it to, what are my thoughts on magnet schools? So my school is a magnet school. The expectations are a bit higher. The students have to test to get in. So it's not a private school, but it's also really not public because they do have to test to get in. They have to have high test scores. They have to, have good behavior, good history, all of that. So while they're in 5th grade, they are able to apply to my school and everything like that. I really enjoy working at a magnet school because the expectations are higher, the behavior is better. I'm not breaking up fights every day. I'm not, dealing with anything major. And if that stuff does happen, then they usually get put out and have to go to their zone school. So my school is not anyone's zone school. These students do not get zoned for my school. Once they get in, then of course we provide transportation. But every single student who goes to my school, they have a different zone school. So if something were to happen and they got kicked out, if their grades were too low or they had bad behavior, they do have a school that they're actually zoned for, if that makes sense. The behavior problems are few. Of course, we still have some. They're kids. They make mistakes, as we all do. But this is really an academic school. You have to earn your way in, and then when you're in, you still have to perform very well. Like, my 6th graders, yes, you made it into the school, but you have to pass the standardized testing. You have to have good test scores. You have to pass all your classes. You have to have good attendance. Like, once you're in the school, everything is still tracked. Like, I was constantly looking at data. I even showed the students their data so they could see, where they were, honestly. And of course, I took off the names and everything. So I really enjoy working at a magnet school. So my overall thoughts on a magnet school are just that it's amazing, it's great, less behavior issues, higher expectations, how can I complain? Question number 7 is, do you plan on coaching track again? And that is one of my old students from Atlanta. I was born and raised in Atlanta. I started my teaching career there. I taught my 3 years of 8th grade in Atlanta, and then I moved down here to South Georgia. And while I was in Atlanta, I taught 8th grade language arts, but I also was the track coach. There was 4 of us. But I coached the sprinters and I coached the relays, and we broke some records. We had a good time, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. That's a passion. Like, I love to teach and everything, but that's my occupation. My passion is track, and as I just mentioned, I work at a magnet school, and there's not sports. It's a academic school. There's not any sports, so track is not really a possibility unless I want to coach at a different school, but that's just a lot of driving for me to rush after work. So I don't have a plan to coach again, and me and my husband do plan on starting a family soon. So I feel like when I start a family, I'm definitely not going to coach either. So I feel like that's just going to be in the past for now, but I definitely still love the sport. I have a passion for the sport. The last year and this year, I went to every single track meet and I watched my students run. So that's just kind of my consolation prize. I won't be coaching, but I will definitely be cheering and supporting my students at the track meets. And then the last question is, what are your summer plans? Last summer, if you watched me, you know that I taught summer school, but this year I'm letting myself have a break. Even though this was a great year and I feel like this was my best year yet, I just definitely want a break. So I do not have any plans to do summer school. I am going to tutor. So I'm offering tutoring for any age, really. I would prefer to do middle and high school, but I've had some elementary parents reach out, and that's totally fine because, of course, ELA is just reading and writing. I can really do any age. I'm only offering like 1-hour sessions, so if I want to space it out, I can. I have 3 families, so I could do one student on Monday for an hour, I could do another student on Tuesday for an hour, and I could do that 3rd student on Wednesday for an hour, and that's not really work to me. Of course, I am charging, a decent amount because I'm a certified educator. I have 5 years of teaching under my belt, so it'll be helpful to have extra money without having to wake up and go to summer school and kind of get there early and wake up and have an alarm. I'm just ready to have a break from all of that, so that's my summer plan. I also plan on going up to Atlanta to see my family and just spend some time up there. Me and my husband also are going to celebrate our 2-year anniversary next month. And I also am going to try to get back on my health grind because I moved here, got married, got that happy weight the last couple years, and I got to get it back off. So I'm going to try to have a strict meal plan, exercise plan. I do work out consistently, but I feel like the food I'm putting in my body is just not really healthy, and I just need to work on that. So those are my summer plans: tutoring, working on my health, relaxing, because in a blink of an eye, I'm going to be right back in that classroom. But that's going to be my last question. So we actually do have 3 more days that teachers have to go: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I will vlog those 3 days. That's going to probably be my last classroom video. So definitely subscribe so you can look out for that video next week. Hopefully I answered all the questions that you guys had curiosities about. If you have any more, just comment them down below and I can respond to them in the comments. Also, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.